Only 5% of people are able to do this, and yet almost all of them could. If you do things the right way, if you watch this video, you could be one of the 5%. Coach Greg, in today's video, the fastest way for you to put on 20 pounds of muscle right now, and that's while being natty. And so the first thing we should look at is, how long is it going to take? Now, it depends on if you're a man or a woman, as well as your genetics. And so for a man, most men, when they start, are going to gain anywhere from 8 to 12 pounds of muscle in their first year. And remember, this is after puberty. If you're a teenager, that it could be much quicker than this. But for an adult, if you're a normal man, 8 to 12 pounds in a year. Now, there are exceptions. If you have an elite level of genetics, you're going to gain much more than that. If you hadn't exercised your entire life, you're probably going to gain more than that. But for most people, somewhere between 8 and 12. Now, if you're a woman, it's going to be about half of that speed. Men have more testosterone. They build more muscle. They have bigger frames. And so men, on average, put on twice as much muscle as women. The second year, 6 to 8 pounds of muscle. The third year, it's slowing down to 4 to 6. Going into 3 to 5 after year 4. And year 5, only 2 to 4 pounds. And by year 10, you're lucky to gain 1 pound each and every year. For most men, you're probably going to be gaining 20 pounds of muscle in 3 to 4 years. Oftentimes, there are guys who don't gain that much muscle in their entire lives. They go to the gym, they try, but they never seem to quite get the most out of their training. There are several reasons for that, including not training harder than last time, going easy in the gym, not eating enough protein, and not taking Turk Builder. But why aren't you doing all of these things? I mean, think of it. If you really want the muscles, why not train harder than last time? Why not do all the things you need to do? And when you reach a plateau, of course, pick up Turk Builder Max, code Greg, for 15% off. Let's see what Jeremy Ethier thinks. What is he going to tell us? What tricks can we learn? Let's watch the video and find out.
Here's what it looks like if they each gain 5 pounds of muscle. But here's the problem. Based on the data, less than 5% of people ever gain that much muscle naturally.
And so imagine this. Only 5% of people are able to do this, and yet almost all of them could. If you do things the right way, if you watch this video, you could be one of the 5%.
We need to clear something up that almost nobody online is honest about. How long this is actually going to take. Because you'll see fitness coaches everywhere promising 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months.
I don't know about you, but I haven't seen anywheres where people promise to gain 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months. Not even Hussein Farhat gained 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months. And so to just say people are promising this, I don't believe that to be true. If somebody says that you're going to put on 20 pounds of muscle in 3 months, well, they're probably lying. Unless, of course, they're using performance-enhancing drugs.
But here's the good news. Your fastest gains don't actually come when you start lifting. They come when you start lifting properly.
The truth is, your fastest gains when you first start just from looking at the weights. I don't mean actually looking at them, but what I do mean is, if you just show up and you train, I don't care if you train easy, if you train hard, if you just show up and go through the motions, when you first start, you are going to put on muscle. It's easy. Training your whole body twice a week in a year, most people with decent genetics are going to put on 8 to 12 pounds of muscle. One of the main problems is most people don't even go for a year. You think that most people that go to the gym train? 25% of people have a gym membership. 25%, it's 1 in 4, but only 33% of the 1 in 4 actually goes to the gym once a week or more. This is actually part of many gym memberships models. Sell a bunch of memberships and hope that they don't show up. And so 33% of people who go to the gym consistently at least once a week. That's only about 8% of the population. And so can you see why hardly anyone is able to put on 20 pounds of muscle? Hardly anyone is actually trying.
And a few months ago, a group of researchers studied their actual training routines to try to find out how they're putting on so much muscle naturally. Now, you'd expect them to spend hours in the gym.
It's not what I would expect at all. I would be expecting that they train their entire bodies twice a week. And for hours? Of course not. Most people understand that you only need to go to the gym about an hour a day to reap almost all of its benefits. I myself train my entire body twice a week, about 90 minutes each time. And so I'm training my muscles about 3 hours a week. That is all. And I'm 50. If I can keep this much muscle at 50 while riding my bike for 10 hours a week and training my weights 3 hours a week, how hard is it really? If you don't show up, if you don't try, then stop complaining.
On average, they only do about 12 sets per muscle per week. So for chest, that's 4 sets of bench, 4 sets of incline, and 4 sets of flies for the whole week.
And so what are the top natural bodybuilders in the world doing? 6 to 12 sets for each muscle per week, twice a week. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. So all of a sudden, that changes the game.
How hard is that really? Rather than complain, go to the gym and actually train hard.
Where he and his team recently investigated how much more muscle you grow by doing more sets in the gym. Now, most people expect a straight line upward. More sets, more growth.
Nobody expects that. Why do they keep putting things in our mouth?
That's what she said.
And so if you do 100 sets a week, you build 10 times more muscle than 10 sets a week. Nobody thinks that. Everyone knows that there's a certain amount of sets you can do per week. And if you do more than that, it's actually worse. I mean, what do you think the best way to bike ride is? You ride 10 hours a day, 7 days a week? The more is better? No. A little bit helps a lot. And the more you do, it's called the law of diminishing returns. I just said this in the last video I recorded this morning. 1 set, it helps a lot. 2 sets, helps a little bit more. 3 sets, a little bit more after that. Once you get to about 5 on a given day, the difference, it's kind of negligible. It's not very noticeable. You don't have to do more. Now, unless, of course, you train like a pussy. You know, if you've trained the way our favorite dropout dentista who won't take you a picture, you train like that guy used to train, then absolutely you need to do more sets. But what happened when our favorite dropout dentista started to train hard? Did you notice he put on 4.5 pounds of muscle in the last year? He hadn't put on muscle for 5 years prior to that. Suddenly he puts on muscle because he's training hard. And so if you want to be the 5% of people that put on those 20 pounds of muscle in perhaps only 3 or 4 years, go to the gym consistently and train hard.
From sets 1 to 5, you're getting a lot of growth. From 5 to 10, you're getting some. And then every time you add sets after that, we're not as confident that you're still getting more growth.
Unlike Mr. Mike, who preaches more sets the better. Recoverable volume. Don't train to failure. 3 reps in reserve. Do set after set after set. This is ridiculous. And so just because they sound smart or speak using big words, doesn't mean they actually know what they're doing. The key is to train hard, but not longer.
When you stop your set at 8 reps short of failure, which is honestly the intensity I think most gym goers train at, your muscles still grow.
And so when he says you stop at 8 reps from failure, you do get some muscle growth. It helps a little bit. It's kind of like doing zone 1 cardio, like walking. Walking helps you to become a little bit fit, but not much. I'm not going to make fun of you for doing dick slapping cardio, but why don't you go harder? And so it's better than nothing, but why not do zone 2? Zone 2, you're pushing yourself, you're breathing a little bit harder, your heart rate's up, and so that's going to be much more beneficial. And so rather than stopping 8 reps from failure, go harder. I believe most people are probably stopping 6 reps from failure. And if you're a beginner, hey, that is fine. Keep doing that. Remember, it's progressive overload to train harder than last time. After several months, if you're going 8 or 6 reps from failure, try going 5, 4, 3. Push yourself a little bit. And maybe not on all sets, but some sets. Once you're no longer a beginner, you're an intermediate. You've been training consistently for a year. You've made it. Only about 8% of people are able to do this. You're in the top 8%. Why not now push yourself to become in the top 5%? Go hard. Try to train to failure, at least close to it once in a while.
But when you push each set to just 1 or 2 reps short of failure, growth nearly doubles.
I always laugh when people say, how many reps should I be doing? It doesn't matter. You could be doing sets of 5, 8, 12, 15, 20. But what really matters is how hard were those sets? And so if I say somewhere between 8 to 12 reps, that's what you should do. You don't just grab any weight and do 8 to 12 reps. The reason I say 8 to 12 is because you should be able to get at least 8 before you can't do any more. But if you get to 12, then it's probably too light.
I have worked with both beginners as well as train lifters who have plateaued, and they both fail the 2 simple tests I look for. Number 1, if their last rep isn't moving really slow, they aren't pushing hard enough.
However fast you're moving the bar on the first rep, The last rep, it should perhaps be at half speed. It should be like you're grinding it out.
If on their very last set of their exercise, they can do more reps than their first set, even though they're using the same weight, again, they're not pushing hard enough.
When people say do 5 sets of 5 and so on, if you can actually do 5 sets of 5, it wasn't hard enough. How are you able to continue to do 5 reps? If the first set was hard, you can't do 5 reps again. You're now pre-fatigued. You have to lighten the load. And so whatever you're doing, if it says to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps, if you did all sets at 12 reps, it was too easy. You need to go hard.
If you take all of your sets to failure, you're going to feel terrible after the session. Then you might have some fatigue and soreness the next few days. If that lasts for a little bit longer, maybe you can't train again or train effectively.
And so how do you know if you're training too hard? Most people don't train hard enough. And so my advice to everyone, if you're watching this video, this is you, go harder than you're doing right now. Train harder. For 95% of you, that advice is going to work. But there's 5% of you out there, you're a little crazy. You're kind of like a Coach Greg. You go to the gym and you train hard. Whenever you're doing a bike ride, you're thinking, I'm going to do a bike race. Why would I go slow? I'm going to try harder than last time every single time. For you, you might be overtraining. There's a 1 in 20 chance, and so it's a slim chance, but here is how you'll know. If your performance is going down, and so if you're getting soreness or you're not as strong as you were the last time, you're probably training a little bit too hard. You either need to decrease your volume, do fewer sets to failure, or perhaps take an extra day off.
If somebody loves training to failure, then they can go and knock out all of their sets to failure. Perhaps they don't need as many total sets, maybe even 5 sets a week per so on a muscle group.
And so here's the beauty of it. What actually training should look like. There isn't one specific program that's better than the rest. You can't buy the Renaissance Periodization app and think, well, that is a better training than the Jeff Nippal app or the Coach Greg. What the best app is, or what your best training is the one that you love the most. If you love training hard, like Coach Greg, pushing yourself to your limits, you do fewer sets and you go hard. If you don't like pushing yourself very hard, like that former dropout dentista who wasn't training very hard for so long, if you enjoy that, you have to make up for not training hard by doing more sets. Both methods are going to work. They just work in different ways. But what's important is that you love the training, because if you like doing fewer sets but going hard, that is best for you. While if they like doing more sets but not going as hard, that is right for them. Both methods work, but you can't combine them.
And you might be in the gym as little as 3 or 4 hours a week. But remember, you're taking every set to failure. And I'm not talking, oh, this is getting hard failure. I mean, you physically cannot move the weight another inch.
This is how I train. He said, you might be training only 3 or 4 hours to failure. 3 hours in the gym each and every week. This is all I'm doing. Now, previous to this, I used to train 7+ hours a week in the gym. Did I notice an extreme amount of difference? No. And why is that? Well, most likely I'm overtraining. There's a ceiling. If you do set after set after set, there's only so much you can recover from. Sometimes less is more. If you enjoy more intensity, you do fewer sets. But if you notice you're not training hard, you gotta up the volume.
We found that right about 10, 11 sets per session per muscle group. So over that, we aren't sure if we're really getting more growth.
And so what you should understand is most likely you shouldn't be doing more than 10 sets for any body part on any given day. Now, only if you're doing lower volume should you be doing that much. 10 sets to failure twice a week for a total of 20 sets to failure is most likely more than anyone needs to do. Now, there perhaps may be outliers. Perhaps you're a 1 in a million that benefits from that. But most people are going to benefit from doing a maximum of 10 given sets on every day. My advice is, if you're doing less intensity, you're going to 3 reps in reserve, you're training like Mr. Mike, perhaps you can do 10 sets twice a week. But if you're going hard, you're training like Coach Greg, you're pushing yourself to failure, most likely 5 hard sets twice a week. That is all you need.
But you can speed up those gains even further by choosing the right exercises.
What about exercise selection? Now, here's the difficult part. Every body is different. Some people will get more out of a bench press, while some people will get more out of a machine. Some prefer a squat, others a leg press, or perhaps a hack squat. And so the only way to truly know this is to experiment with a variety of exercises on yourself. You can't read some program, you can't follow some app. You need to choose the exercises that works best for you. And so which ones are they? Well, I'll tell you what to look for. you should enjoy it. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable. It should be relatively easy for you to push yourself close to failure. If there's certain exercises that perhaps are causing you pain or they're uncomfortable or you simply hate them, that exercise is not going to be good for you for life. Perhaps you can try them once in a while, but what you should do is continue to experiment and do the exercises that feel smooth. It feels good. You enjoy pushing yourself. You don't feel like it's hurting your body. Those exercises are the ones that you should double down on and continue to use them. Once you've gotten a great program, once you've chosen your exercises, you're older, you're an advanced lifter, all you need to do is keep leveraging your favorite exercises that you know work and keep doing them with intensity. And so I don't need to go to the gym and do 50 different exercises. I pick the ones that work and I do them consistently with effort, and those are the best for my body.
Your nutrition is a fuel. And the most important question you need to answer is, how much should you eat?
You probably don't need to be in a surplus.
Thank you. Dr. Eric Helms has stated, you don't need to be in a surplus to build muscle. Bulking and cutting has been proven to not be necessary. People are still yapping about it, pretending that you need to add in 500 or 1,000 calorie surplus, that you need to bulk up, put on the muscle, and then cut down and repeat. This is categorically false, and I've been stating this for years. Now, maturing is realizing that Coach Greg was right all along. If you are fat, you're fat right now, you're obese. For women, over 25% body fat, that means you're a little bit overweight. If you're at 33% or heaven forbid 40 plus, you're most certainly fat and or overweight and or obese. Name it whatever you want. You got too much fat on your body. Men, if you're above 15% body fat, you're a little bit overweight. And if you're over 25%, you are obese. You're fat. I'm sorry. I'm calling it like it is. If you're one of those categories, you should be trying to lose fat. You shouldn't be thinking, yeah, but I got more calories on my body. I got more fat. It's going to help me to grow. This is my bulking body. No, this is ridiculous. How did it work for Mr. Mike? All those years of bulking when he was in his 20s, the perma-bulk, it didn't help him. It resorted to him needing to do surgery in order to lose the weight. And so don't bulk to the point of becoming fat ever. It's not beneficial, and it's only going to be detrimental to your health. If you are, in fact, at a healthy weight, stay there. If you're at 15% body fat for men and 25% body fat for women, what you're doing is working, keep doing it. So long as you're getting in close to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, you're eating some fibers, or you have some healthy fats in there, just keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully you're eating more than once a day, up to 5 meals a day, somewhere between 3 and 5 with that much protein. You're golden. You don't need to worry about it. Now, let's say you're too lean. You're single-digit body fat, you look like Tristan Lee. Or as a female, you're also too lean, you look like extra lean beef patty. You need to now eat in a surplus, because if you're not eating enough, you're not going to have enough energy. You're going to have perhaps brain fog. You're not going to get a pump. And lean beef, she described this. She was saying how she was losing strength in the gym. The motivation wasn't there. She needed a reset. If you're too lean, this is what's going to happen. And so you need to eat more. And so if your goal is to put on 20 pounds of muscle and you're trying to stay too shredded, eat more. And how much more? Well, up to 500 calories in a surplus each and every day. And how quickly should you be losing or gaining weight? Well, optimally, you don't want to lose more than perhaps 0.5% of your body weight each and every week. So if you're 200 pounds, 0.5% of that is 1 pound. That's a 500 calorie deficit each and every day. If you lose slower than 1 pound of fat a week, you're probably going to still be able to build muscle. If you speed up the process, you try to fast track your fat loss, you're losing 2, 3, 4 pounds of fat each and every week. Very hard to build muscle. You're going to have a very difficult time. Now, the opposite, if you're trying to put on muscle, you could perhaps aim to gain 1 pound of weight each and every week. That is the maximum. You're obviously going to struggle to put on that much muscle each and every week, but of course, some of it could be fat, some of it might be water. But if you take your time, that is likely going to add to more muscle and less fat. And remember, at first, you probably can gain more muscle. For example, in the first several weeks and or month, it's a lot easier to put on muscle. For example, if you add in creatine or if you add in Turk Builder Max, you may notice the scale weight go up a bit more. You might get dried out a bit more quickly. In particular with Turk Builder Max, you look leaner, you put on more muscle. But with creatine, oftentimes you add in a little bit more water and you might feel a bit more watery. It depends on the person. Everyone is different. But please don't rush the process. And so after the first several weeks and or month, most likely you shouldn't be putting on more than 1 to 2 pounds per month.
Your nutrition is permissive to growth. So if you are a rank beginner, 2% gain in body mass per month, that's a great target.
And so if you're a total beginner, a newbie, and you're at your healthy weight already, you may want to add in 300 to 500 calories at most on a lean bulk. And remember, that is your goal, is to gain up to 2% per month. 2%, if you start off at 200 pounds, is 4 pounds. Most people are not going to gain 4 pounds each and every month. Now, the first month, when your newbie gains are at the highest, most likely that is certainly possible. But by 10, 11, 12 months in, very unlikely that you're going to gain 4 pounds each and every month. Remember, 4 pounds a month times 12 would be 48 pounds. Very unlikely you're going to put on 48 pounds of quality muscle in a year, but certainly in the first month or two, that is most certainly possible. As you can see, intermediate only need 200 to 300 calories of a surplus maximum, and that's for people who are obviously already lean. And if you're an advanced trainer, 5 years of training or more, 100 to 200 calories at most is all that you need. And of course, remember, most people are overweight. And so most people don't need a calorie surplus. Most people can eat at maintenance or even below and continue to build muscle. It's only people who are already lean, for example, 15% body fat for men and or less, and for women, 25% body fat and or less, who require this surplus. If you're already above this level, your body has plenty of stored energy in the form of adipose tissue to fuel your workouts and to help you to build muscle. And remember, to build muscle, you need 3 main things. You need energy in this form of body fat or calories. You need protein, amino acids, and of course, you need water and a stimulus for muscle growth to occur. If you do all the things, you eat all the foods, but you don't go to the gym and lift weights, it's very hard to build muscle.
Creatine, which has been found to boost your lean mass by as much as 2 to 3 pounds in the first 8 to 12 weeks.
Now, the problem is that added muscle, it doesn't continue on forever. If you put on 2 or 3 pounds of muscle in a month, for example, from taking creatine, it doesn't mean you're going to put 2 or 3 pounds more the next month or the month after that. It's kind of a one shot and you're done fix. Is it in fact worth it? I believe yes, absolutely it is. It can help you to build muscle. Now, here's a debate that many people like to say. It isn't actually muscle, it's water in the muscle. Muscle is about 80% water. And so what exactly is muscle? Muscle has a lot of water inside of it. And so does it not actually count? If you take creatine and the water goes inside the muscle and you can see it, the muscle got bigger. It's not water under the skin. It doesn't make you bloated. It doesn't make you look watery, but it's water within the muscle that makes it bigger. You can debate me. You can say, yeah, but it's lean contractile tissue, or you can say it's lean muscle. You can say it's muscle. You can say, no, it's water. Call it what you will, but if you add 2 to 3 pounds on by taking creatine and it's in the muscle and it makes you look better and you're stronger, I'm calling it muscle. I don't care. You can debate me. You can say, no, it's not. Whatever. Now, if you take Turk Builder Max and somehow you put on 4 pounds of muscle in a month, is it, for example, water within the muscle? Maybe. Is it lean contractile tissue? Perhaps it's not. But if you gain 4 pounds and all of it is in your muscles, does that not count as muscle? Hey, if it doesn't count as muscle, then it doesn't count as muscle. You can believe what you want. You can argue and say it didn't gain anything, it's just water, whatever. Now, why is it that not everyone gains all of this muscle? Why is it that some people, for example, myself, gain 4 pounds of muscle, or you can call it contractile tissue, you can call it water within the muscle, you can call it whatever you want. Why do some people gain more than others? Let's listen to the explanation on creatine.
Some people do not respond to creatine. Some studies will suggest it's like 20 to 30%.
Isn't it the most studied performance-enhancing substance in the world? A natty substance that's better than any others. Which is it? How can it be the best natural supplement in the world but have 30% not notice? Because some people just don't notice. The same applies to testosterone. Some people notice it and some people do not. More people notice it than creatine. If you want to try the best supplement in the world, Turk Builder Max or Turk Platinum, Juga Turkistanica, you can try it right now and use code Greg or code unemployed for 15 to 20% off. And if it doesn't work for you, let's say you're one of the few percentages of people that notice no benefit whatsoever. It's a money back guarantee and a $50 gift card. Remember, creatine, 20 to 30% get no benefit from it whatsoever, but most companies aren't giving people their money back. You bought creatine, and to you, it's a scam. Hey, you tried creatine, it had no benefit whatsoever. 20 to 30% are going to agree with you. Out of 1 million people using creatine, that's up to 300,000 that have no benefit. Turk Builder Max is better than creatine. You don't believe me? Try it. I dare you. Money back guarantee, $50 gift card. And so if within a week you don't notice it, you think you got to wait for 3 months? No. In a week, if you don't notice it's working, you get your money back. How complicated is it? And so if you want to try it risk-free, now is your chance. Click the link in the description, code Greg, or certainly code unemployed if you got no job.
The body actually produces more growth hormone and testosterone when you slept better.
And so what are people missing? Sleep. How many people don't get enough sleep? How can you expect to build muscle if you're drinking alcohol, using recreational substances, and not getting enough sleep? If you don't get the sleep, you don't have the chemical signal to repair the muscle, and so, of course, you're being hindered.
So the environment plays a much bigger role than people give it credit for. And so when we say you want your room to be dark and quiet, everybody intuitively knows that, but they don't necessarily know what dark means.
And of course, you want to sleep in a dark room that is not very warm. Perhaps you need a fan, as well as Delta Sleep. This will help you to get sleeper faster, easier, and get a better quality of sleep. It's not just how long you sleep, it's how well does the sleep help stimulate muscle growth. And so with Delta Sleep, I take 2 pills a day each and every night, and I sleep better than last time. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch any of those 2 bloops. Of course, don't forget about the cookbook, code Greg, 15% off. And if you want to get sponsored by HCLT supplements or get coached by myself and my team, or if you want to carry all the supplements into your store and or gym, click the link in the description. There's several links right now. And until next time, I am out.